Someday you might find I'll hide it behind something, but they won't look behind. I am still inside. A little bit comes bleeding through. I wish this could have been any other way, but I just don't know. I don't know what else I can do. Every day is exactly the same. Every day is exactly the same. There is no love here and there is no pain. Every day is exactly the same.
Slow drum roll out there. What's happening, everybody? For some reason, I can't tell how many people are watching. So hopefully, it's more than just Polska Bob. Not that I don't mind you watching only Polska Bob, but I hope more people showed up for this. So you might be wondering, why not new old show? And I'll tell you why. Here's the thing. It takes a lot to produce those shows. And summertime, I'm out. Thumper's like in the garage all the time working on his stuff. It's just hard to put these shows together when it takes so much to put them together. Um, Coordinating schedules and just doing all the taping and then editing takes a while, hours and hours and hours. So I'm putting it on the shelving it for now, temporarily. Maybe in the winter I'll pull it up again, but I just don't have the time to work on it. It didn't take off like I thought it would. I thought it would do better than it is, but I could do one of these and get the same amount of views. But some of the things going forward that I learned from doing those shows, I like the one-on-one conversation, interview. You know, um, I like featuring you guys in the manosphere, your talents, what you're about. I like learning about your lives and what you do. And I think other people like to learn about your lives and what you do. So I want to continue to do that. If you are a musician or whatnot, definitely send me a song. I'll put it on, just like I was doing in the show before, and that'll be like the P break tonight. I know Jeffrey Paul didn't. I didn't tell him because it was a last minute decision, but I'm going to have one of his songs on tonight. I'm just pulled it off of YouTube, and that'll be the P break. It'll be one of Jeff's songs. Right? Pretty cool, right? So if you got some music talent you want to showcase, send me the vid. Send me a link to the vid. I'll play it. That'll be cool, man. Um, so we're going to do interviews. We're going to do music, and that's going to be my shows, uh, from for the time being, at least. I'm going to get together with Thumper. Me and him talked a little bit. We're going to do shows together. He finally, if one thing could be taken from that, he got his studio set up. So now he's going to be doing his own shows hopefully soon when he's out of the garage. But I know right now he's really trying to work on his hot rods and all that. So with that said, there's some other things I'm working on that I'm really excited about. And I'm not even really going to tell you a lot about it. I'm just going to give you a sneak peek. Okay, just you don't even have you're not even going to know a reference or what it's about or any of this stuff, and I'm not going to tell you anymore. Basically, I decided to work on this project, and I really was trying to swing for the fences, like really swing for the fences, big time. And I came to the conclusion that if I do swing that hard for the fences, you're never going to see it because it's just going to take so much resource and so much energy to do what I originally wanted to do. I may still do it in the end after this project, but this project I'm working on right now, I want it to be the start of the next project, which will be yeah, it'll be cool. I think, I hope. So, if you don't know, I used to do art. That was my major in school at one point, and then I changed focus, did some other things, but I still love art, still doing art. You still see it in my videos. So we're just gonna kind of go along that line. That's about all I'm gonna say totally about it. But I am gonna show you something. All right, it's just a sneak peek, something I put together. It's part of this thing I'm working on. And again, you're not going to have any context. I'm not going to tell you anything of what it's about or anything. Just a sneak peek. All right. So if you're ready, I'm going to share screen real quick. So you only get one peek. If I could find the window. Why can't I find the window? Nothing like, here we go. Are you ready? Here it comes. And hold on. Ready? Boom. See it? Good. That's it. That's all you get. That's all you get. Hmm. Pretty cool, right? Wonder what that's about. I don't know. We'll find out, right? Eventually. All right. Well, now let's get rid of this. And tonight we have um, a special guest from all the way from New Zealand. You know him as Shinobi Wan. But before we do that, I'm going to play a quick video he made. That's pretty cool. I'm also going to take off this freaking thing. Although I'm going to turn the camera off, sorry. But it's really hot. I have to turn off the air conditioning when I do this. So right now I am dying in this thing. And I could switch microphones too. So you should be able to hear me like it's a better microphone when I'm not wearing this helmet. So, uh, it is what it is. And yeah, it'll be good. So let me share this. Where is it? And enjoy this awesome video. And here we go.
Oh, hello there. Welcome to the library. I was just, reading. Well, let's have a little chat, shall we? Take a seat. Not my chair! What the hell? Anyway, my brothers, it has been a while, and time has passed by, with or without our input. The evils of this world never sleep. Holidays or lays, they act, temper, and censor by destroying our law and order, turning fools into becoming useless tools, idiots some might say, ruining all mankind built and stood for. What for? What for. You see free, you and me, for we have seen the key. It's a formation of a breakaway civilization, a new nation. This will be our station. Attacked from the left and attacked from the right. Attacked from within and attacked from those without. These are just the signs of backlash from the riffraff, the death throes of a lacking foe, which reminds me that you will get the most flack when you're above the target zone. So get there, double down, and hold the line, my brothers. It's time. Time to become the survivor your ancestors wanted of you. Do not fail them, for if not you, then who? Continue their fight and do what is right. Remember who you are and why you are here. So from one puppet to another, let us cut our strings together. Let none be our masters forever. For the road to utopia is paved in blood and led by tyrants. You'll have to live with that unless you want to burn the whole system down. And with that, remember, you, my brothers, have not been forgotten. Trust no one, believe nothing, and question everything. Shinobi Wan, Alto.
Yo, yo, +1 shield. It's awfully quiet here. Deathly quiet. This dead air. I don't know if you can hear me over there. Well, whether you can or not, I'll talk, for that's what I've got. Maybe it's him who I can't hear. I don't have YouTube open, so I wouldn't be able to know, and I don't have it near. Alas, my brothers, I heard you have a good day the other day, and I had prepared something. So I'll just say it, because I don't know if anyone can hear me, or if you can hear me.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, hello, there you are. Welcome to the show.
Oh, that was a little crazy. I switched microphones and then I thought you could hear me. So I'm sitting there talking and nobody can hear me.
I was like, maybe we're playing the quiet game, the dead air game, like to see how much dead air we can collect. And I was like, maybe I collected enough now. But then you're playing it pretty hard. I was like, man, he's playing it tough.
I was playing it hardcore. Oopsie. Well, this is what happens when you go live, things happen.
That's part of the show. That's what you pay for, or
that's
what
right.
you don't pay for.
Exactly. So, how's it going down there in New Zealand? How are things?
Yeah, it's pretty good. Like just a few moments ago, I didn't realize. Holy shit, my screen went black. I hope I didn't cut out then. Anyway, yeah.
No, you're here.
Just a few moments ago, I was sitting here and I was like, I gotta get these animals to shut up. So I threw some food out, and now they're like all sitting there looking at me, chewing what remains of the food that I threw out. So it's pretty good. Animals are happy. I'm happy.
That's good. How many animals are we talking?
So there's a whole herd of cows just over there, like maybe 200 or something. But then I've got like 4 sheep here, about 20 ducks, 10 chickens. There's my dog, and I think I saw the cat running around somewhere.
Nice.
They're all just like sitting there.
So you're really living the country life out there in the
Yeah,
NZ.
yeah,
That's pretty cool.
yeah. It's pretty good out here. Like, I used to live in a city like everyone else, and then I saw the folly in that. And as soon as I like, as soon as I quit my job and came to the country, I was like, this is what happiness is. I'd walked past it for so many years and never stopped.
Do you have, like, prior to you leaving the city, did you have any kind of farm experience whatsoever?
Like, I'm not sure if many people can relate, but my grandparents owned this farm, and I grew up here as a little kid. Or I would come to the farm like in the holidays and like, be here as like, I guess like a rural observer, like you're just a stupid kid. You're not really a farmer or whatever, but you've been there.
Okay. Oh,
So I
good.
guess in like that meant that sort of experience, which I guess you could say is zero. Like that's technically zero experience.
So then you just left. So when did you leave the city? Was it during COVID or before COVID? When did you come?
Like I'd set out a plan to like leave the city, and then that was like maybe around the end of 2019, and then the bioweapon struck in 2020, and it's sort of like I thought it was going to delay everything, but really it was like more inspiration to get the hell out of there. Like my backyard was the size of a barbecue, and my front yard was the size of a car. And so like being locked down in that sort of environment was pretty lame. It made me saw like who the enemies were, and it really made me want to saw them in half. But instead I was all like, no, I'm getting out of here.
So yeah, let's talk a little about what happened in New Zealand with the virus and what's her name? Oh gosh, Jalen, Arden, Jacinda, right? Jacinda Arden.
Jacinda.
Yeah. So
I didn't
she,
vote for her, not
when,
my president.
when did she come into power?
I think it was like it might have been a second round, like we do sort of terms of office, and I think this might have been a second time. And it was like the first time she's all like, no new taxes. She's like a labor sort of like for the people socialist, like never had a job sort of person.
Hmm.
And so she got in because she was like a woman, and they're trying to do all that girl business, boss girl and shit. And then what was it? She's like, no new taxes, gonna have a baby. So they were like gonna have the first baby like born as in for prime minister or some bullshit here. And what about it? Yeah, everybody like sort of fell in love with her. I didn't, because like this stuff's rubbish. We all know that the voting game's rigged. It's like not for us, the voting game. It's for somebody else, really. It's for the masters or whatever you want to call them.
Hmm.
And yeah. And then like her no new taxes turned into like plenty of new taxes. And then they went around for the next round of governance, and I just don't know what's up, right? Like that was like one of the only elections I was like, that's it. I got to get out there. I'm going to vote against this bitch. I was like, and I was like, if voting counts, this is when it counts. So I was like, people are out there talking bad about her and stuff. People don't like her. And I was like, we really got to push this. And like, I even went to like one of the political offices and I was like, hey, do you want me to display your signs out in my corner? Because I had a pretty prominent corner. And they're all like, nah. And I was like, well, that's fucking weird. Like this big corner, you got like thousands of cars of traffic coming through every day. Anyway, yeah, bugger that. Voted against her. Nothing happened. She got into power. It's sort of like what you guys had over there, where you're like, if you weren't disillusioned in the system, like perhaps maybe 80% are now because they said you voted for him, but you didn't, or something like that. And because of the system, you can't just go to everybody and be like, hey, prove it. Who did you vote for? What's going on here? And,
Yeah.
like, and instead they stole like a big chunk of time, like a massive chunk of time.
Mm-hmm.
and ruined it, and like embezzled money, wasted money. Like they took out $180 billion loan from you guys to buy that vaccine. I didn't want it, and then now everybody in the country owes like $32,000 each or something. Like it might not be much, for you guys because you owe like trillions or whatever, but to our country, that's my kids, maybe their kids. That sort of debt's never getting recovered because the people in power never pay off those debts.
Mm-hmm.
And so like that happened, the whole gas situation happened, and then she just left instead of like finishing the year out or finishing a little term out and being like booed off stage, or like I should stage wood chipper left or something, like get out there, girl. No, she like gapped it and left some other buffoon in charge.
And that's who's currently in charge right now.
Yeah, I don't even know his name. He's a freaking loser. I think someone asked him point blank, like, "What's a woman?" or something, and he's all like, question marks. Or like sort of business. Just stumble around his words. He pulls like a Biden or something.
That's ridiculous. Is he an older guy, younger? Like I haven't paid attention, so I couldn't tell you. Like I haven't even seen this.
I guess that's what they're hoping for, right? They're probably like, let's hope no one's paying attention, and then when we do pay attention, it's too late. I think he's like 40 or something, like a middle-aged fella or whatever. Maybe he's getting close to 50 or something like that. But he looks quite young. It's just their whole team, like this whole Labour team that they've got going, is like they're like zero expertise, and we're gonna get a group of people together to discuss the situation, and we'll formulate the best answer. And then they get together all their buddies for a massive party, and then like whatever's going down is just rubbish anyway. They don't even know what they're on about. Like let's get the team of experts in the room. We'll get like the top guy from the class of expert who went to expert university over there, and no one knows these people from a bar of soap, and they like just appear out of nowhere. It's basically like a small version of like the political game that's corrupted everywhere else in the world played here. It's just the people were too busy with their own lives to be able to notice what's going on.
So tell me how the like what was the compliance rate? Because with the poke down there, because I know they were pushing it probably the hardest in that country, maybe aside from Australia, where they were putting people. Did they have camps that they put people in?
Yeah, there was a camp. There's like a camp, and there was like a report of some person who broke out of the camp, and some other people who broke out of the camp, and there were videos like floating around from footage within the camp and stuff. It's just like the whole thing's friggin' retarded. Like they're like it's the flu, and they're like we're gonna put you guys all together in one spot, and there's gonna be like 55 points of contact between you and that spot, and it's like and then they were like, and we're gonna give you money. Like if you've got it, we're gonna give you money. So people were like having like flu parties and like shit like this. There were like
Really?
businesses where the subcontractors would be all like to their employees, just quickly make a business and then apply to the government to get like a whole bunch of money, like, and they were just handing out money and stuff. I didn't really get to do it because I was sort of working in a thing already, and the company like just did it for me. But it was like $7,000 like to the company per employee, like nearly instantly. So a massive portion of the money, you probably, if I put pen to paper and tracked it around, you could probably figure out where most of this money went. And like they're only now discussing like about the business fraud of like where this money went. But during the time, everybody was sort of like kind of keen. They were like, oh, yo, we're locked down for a few weeks. It was like an impromptu holiday where we all got to stay at home and got paid like money to do it. And so everyone was kind of keen. And, because we'll work pretty hard over here for like, I guess it's like the overheads, rent, bills and all that are quite high, just because I guess that's the way they've done it. But everyone works quite hard. So yeah, the time off was great. And then they did all the things where people didn't have to pay their rent and stuff, and they didn't see a problem with happening with that. And then slowly, like, everything got worse. Like, crime went way up, shootings started to happen and stuff. But that, of course, you know, because they disarmed the population, that started to go up heaps. There was like heaps of suicides and things like that were starting to spike. And then there was like the like vaccine hating epidemic that went around, because it was like up in the 80% straight away. Then it was like 88%. They're talking of people who'd taken the vaccine. And then that's when there was all those things floating around the net where people would get like real mad at people for not wearing masks and shit. And it was like straight up facts. Unless you're carrying your own oxygen, you're still breathing the same oxygen as everyone else. Like, if you're not coughing into a cloth, I mean, I suppose that's all good. But the government put out weird things like just put a bandana around your head. Like, if you can't do it, put a t-shirt up over your nose, or like weird things like this. There was like religious leaders that started to speak up against it, and then they got persecuted. And then normal people started to be like not many people got fined, but there was like singled out people and incidents, and like they made like everyone fear the repercussions for, you know, not wearing your mask in the bus or whatever, and things like that. But yeah, it got pretty crazy. And then by that point, it was at like 95% uptake for the vaccine. And that's when like everybody started kicking you out of shops and things like that. You weren't allowed to go places and stuff. And because I didn't take it, I've never had any vaccines. I was, you know, my parents didn't believe in it when I was little. And then I'm all right. And then when it came around to the flu thing, I probably got it with everyone else. But, you know, I never went to get the test. And never went and got the vaccine, so I just treated it like a normal flu.
Did they have like a card system? Like here, they had you had like a vaccine card.
They tried to do something like that, and then they did do it with like a QR code thing. It's just that everybody, because 95% of people were proud as to have it, they like threw their stats up on the internet, on Facebook and things like that. And like I just screenshotted some and took people's QR codes that were vaccinated. And, you know, like had a impromptu sort of like card that would scan and work. But if they looked into it any further, it would, you know, it would be like, you're not Jane Smith, or you're not this person that's out on the net. Like, there's 50 people using this. How she scanned in at 55 places in one day or something. But what I got to, because I was already at that point, that was like a year into it or half a year into it. At that point, I'd already moved down here to the farm, and I was just like, I'm just not going to support any of these people. You know, if they're kicking me out, then I'm kicking them out. You know, they want my money at the end of the day, and like so does the government. So I like quit my job, came here, and now I like basically don't earn anything. You know, maybe I get like $10,000 a year or something, and that's through like sort of, you know, side jobs, or maybe I'll work for a small season, or I'll sell some stuff or something. So I dropped like 10 times. You know, I was working like 60,000 plus, depending on how hard I worked. And now they get nothing from me. They even give me money when I apply for my taxes back, because I'm in that like poor bracket, which they classify as being poor. And so, and yeah, they get nothing. Now these shops, restaurants and shit that never let me in, nah, screw them. They're never going back to them. I start making all my own stuff. Like, so I don't really know what the general population's about, because I don't even bother with them. You know, they kicked me out basically.
So, okay, but you're now in the country. Now, see, where I am, there was the way they did it in the city where everybody needed to have your cards and, you know, all this stuff. But outside, and, you know, I'm like in the suburbs and whatnot, it wasn't that enforced. Like nobody was really checking cards or any of that. Did you have that kind of situation, or?
Like in the city, it was pretty enforced, but it was kind of socially enforced by Karens and Kevins and things like that. But out here in the rural area, it was like there was a cafe that would display signs saying that they're not gonna obey the laws, and you can come in here and have a good time. and like that was pretty busy. And then other places, like I went to this restaurant. I took my boy out to a restaurant because I like to try and teach him restaurant habits because that's sort of an art where you can't be a buffoon. Like you don't want
Hmm.
to make a scene at a restaurant or whatever. So like I try to do that. And then at one restaurant, they got a bit weird about it halfway through the meal. And then when they were like starting to be like, did you check that person or something or just them about it? And because I just talked my way through the counter, I didn't worry about it. But at the end, they were sort of like, hey, just if you don't have the card, you can't really come back here. And I was like, I don't have the card. And I'm probably never going to come back here if you're going to be like that. But it was really services, like the supermarket and places that were getting a bit weird about it. And like there was even people, would be waiting outside with the vaccine card and be like, I'll do your shopping for you, sort of business and like that.
Ah,
But because I
okay.
had my fake one, it didn't matter. And then also they released like a mask exemption thing where you could apply for a mask exemption. And like the actual card was just like it's just a picture. So like and because everything's pictures these days, you can just copy it from the internet. If you just search on the internet long enough, you'll find the picture. And so like I found it, print these things out, and then I ended up like giving heaps of people these cards. Like so they didn't have to bother wearing the mask or whatever. Because some people didn't like I used to smoke a lot and stuff. I still smoke a lot, and sometimes it's a bit stuffy to breathe. Like if you've, I don't know, running around or something, or you're flustered. Yeah, you're getting mad at some Karen. Now you're getting a bit flustered, and you've got a friggin' mask in your mouth and shit. I'm like, nah, screw all this business. Like, I'm gonna give people access to this mask thing because a lot of people didn't know, and since I have like 100% free time now that I don't have to work or anything, I could do this for the people, like go around and give them access to like the all this information that basically the government wasn't giving you. And even now, they cover up the fact of the information by underneath every YouTube video or anything about it. There's like a silly link to the government site telling you nonsense about how they're all pussies about the flu and they're all going to die from the world's greatest disaster that they engineered in China or something like that.
I'm not sure if they're still doing that here. I, I,
It's
I knew they
lapsing a little.
were. I'm sorry.
Like they're letting go of the narrative a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's some of the narratives like the election. They pretty much like let go of the election from that was the most fair and upstanding election here. That nothing bad happened. And it's funny you mentioned the signs. So here, didn't matter where you were, where you went, except maybe like deep into cities, there were Trump signs and Trump caravans everywhere, everywhere. And you hardly ever saw anything Biden, but somehow he's the most popular president. Just
Yeah.
saying.
It's like, and didn't they use those Dominion machines that had like proven backdoor access to like
Oh, yeah. Yep.
anything?
Yeah. And, we got another election coming in 2024.
Well,
And
it's a good thing they changed the language so that election fraud is now actually called fortified democracy. So they can actually just talk about it openly by fortifying elections now.
yeah, well, yeah, I believe that they're getting ready to spin a narrative in case they are thwarted in their next attempt to do things that they could say, oh, it's rigged. Because anytime they don't win, it's rigged, right? Anytime they win is most safest and up election you ever want to witness. So I guess that's universal no matter where you are, right?
Well, there's like an example of a thing called bit switching, like a computer byte gets switched from a 1 to a 0 from a cosmic ray impact of like the hard drive that's calculating votes. And there was an example in the States, I think it was, that some lady won by like an impossible amount of votes. And it wasn't, well, it could have been fraud, it probably was, but like they explained it for bit switching, where they went through and this computer had switched a bit and had tabulated more votes for her than actually there were people voting in this small election. I mean, if I could send the link or something, I would. Maybe I'll find it later. But
I vaguely
it's like
remember this. Yeah.
Yeah, and like so these machines are faulty that way, whereas like the other way where you write down and stuff like that is pretty hard to fake that. And if you're gonna fake it, it'll be in the vote counters, and then you need your supervised people. And I saw like all the shenanigans that were going on with your your shit that happened in the elections, where some of the counters weren't allowed to watch or whatever,
Hmm. Well,
and
and
there
then
were
they had
people
all,
like dropping off fake loads of it and shit. Yeah,
yes,
it's
the
really
mail-in
like one of
stuff.
those things where it's because you've got two terrible leaders that you can't choose, like, or the fact that the fact that there's one terrible leader, like really terrible, that's a failure in democracy. Like the whole thing they want to uphold is like, okay, so you're gonna put up a retard versus like a popular dude. And it's like those are both wrong standings to base like your country on. You're like, A, you don't want popularity, and then B, you don't want retards. So you want like someone who knows what the fuck's going on. Like at the moment you're in a war, so you'd probably want someone who's gonna de-escalate or win it. And like I, how they used to be honest with people, like, and how YouTube used to be real people is why people like stuff and become so like glued to a thing. Like this is my thing. This is my hill I'm gonna die on now, and
Hmm.
I'm always gonna vote this color. And then these people like these retards have usurped it, and it's obvious there's obviously a deep state because like the guy's too like maybe he made a plan friggin' ages ago to do all of this or something, but he's gonna follow it through when he's 80 or something or however old he is. It's like I don't think so. Like there's some skin and bones you're puppeteering around there.
Yeah, well, as long as you could say the catchphrases, and you know, you're the person they're anointing, you know, they'll put all they can behind them. So,
Well,
and
it's
right
funny
now,
you say anointing because they are royalty. They're like your royals in America. Because wasn't there like a fifth grade student over there who exposed the fact that a bunch of, if not all of the presidents had royal bloodline?
I don't remember that, but it's probably
Oh,
true.
well, it's like a rhetorical question. Yeah, they did. There's like this thing. This like fifth grade student did like a thing on it and discovered like they have ties to royal bloodlines, and all the secret behind the shadows runs in that. And what it was is like old world order was when there was a king, and then his boy, his firstborn son, would become the next king, and so on and so on. And then the other ones weren't allowed to hold like royal court or like land or some shit. And like the new world order was everyone gets a turn, and so like all of these royals have the line. It's not just like firstborn son now or anything. It's like they all get a turn in this new world order system. And like some people were like, oh, we don't want to get into the new world order, but you've been living in it for like over 100 years. And that's why I said in my little speechy thing was that like we've just got to like deal with it, or you've got to burn it down because like you can't stop it from vote. You can't vote your way out of this mess anymore. Maybe when there's like five people at a table and you're voting, and you can look the other person in the eyes and maybe like chop those eyes out if you don't like the vote that they did or something. But you can't do that anymore. So there's no way anything's going to change. Like we're just going to laugh at it and make your own civilization. Like the way of the ninja. They survived the empire for a couple of 100 years before they blew them all up or cut them all up or got rid of them. And that's
Mm.
what's going to happen again. And like, unless like some crazy event happens where someone decides to do something, because like if you're going to face the facts, like nobody is going to do anything. Even if you are living under a small boot of tyranny, it's better than like, air quotes, better than the boot you don't know that's coming. But even if that's your own boot.
Well, I mean, it's not only that, it's people are comfortable with their lives right now. They
Yeah.
have all the internet streaming they ever want, all the porn they could ever want to look at. The food comes to them by, Walmart delivery, and Amazon delivers your, whatever you want. And as long as those taps don't get shut off, people are going to be like, I'm okay with things, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, complacency has defeated us.
It sure has. Um, real quick, kind of on topic, off topic. Calliope wants to know if what is the situation with your private health insurance in New Zealand?
Oh, so there is private health, and you can pay to get the procedures done, and it's really good. It'll be like, okay, so there's like you had a gunshot, and you're getting done up on a rowboat by some learner doctor and a few students is like public health, and you had to wait to get on that rowboat. Whereas private health would be like you're on a cruise ship in the future, and you're already fixed. Like, and you're better. So I've never experienced private medical care, but I know people who have, and they say it's wicked. Like they're in hotels, but it's a hospital, and they'll have like being waited on like hand and foot or something. I think like the meals and like extras cost them extra, but like the actual care and stuff is really good. Whereas I've had normal medical care, and I don't see a problem. Like, I mean, you're like waiting more. The meals probably suck, and but all the equipment and like the training is all the same as the private one. It's just that the private guy, who's or lady or whatever who's doing your operation or your medical care has just taken it private. They got fed up with the government paycheck, and they're going to make millions or hundreds of thousands something somewhere else. And a lot of people actually do that for in this country for dentistry, which is probably everywhere, and other sort of cancer treatments and stuff. Actually, thinking about it now, it's like all of the like life-saving things and like beautification things immediately go private after they've learnt their gear. And usually in this country, they'll get usurped by Australia because Australia's got a bigger like medical budget to dote upon their doctors, surgeons, and nurses and stuff. Like they'll be outside the nurse college or the doctor institute or some cool place that they're all like hanging out at. There's like a bar or something in Auckland. I think they always go to the medical people, and they'll be there like scouting to take the talent from this country because our budget here is pretty little. Like in the smaller country, I think we've only got like 5 million, 5.5 million people.
Well, speaking of Australia, you in Australia, how tied at the hip are you guys? Like, do you get?
Well, I thought it was a myth. Like, I'd been searching on the internet for Australia for ages. Like, you know, isn't that where deer go to become jacked kangaroos or something? Like a bunch of prisoners or something like that. A lot of gangs come from this Australia, and like, so I know it's over there somewhere, but where? No,
So
yeah,
it's
they're like our cousins or something. We have like a sort of one of those love-hate relationships. But then with all the immigration, like Australia isn't Australia really anymore. It's like a massive multicultural pool. And like last time I went there, every little section you go to has got its own clique for the type of people that are in it.
so yeah, they're basically what's happening there is happening across the world as far as their populations being changed by mass
Yeah.
immigration. I imagine that with Australian, it's like out of the the Asian countries, right? Like Malaysia and all that.
I think it's well, so New Zealand gets a lot of different cultures because for our time, but then like it's really dictated by the politicians, like where they're going to get the most money from, and then they just flood them in. And like prior to the 2020 bioweapon, they were really seeking the Asians and the Indians because they'd go to college and they'd get their like citizenship through being a student for years and years, and the colleges like take shitloads of money for like all these stupid degrees, and they end up just being like trust fund kids or like someone sending money to them over here kids or delivery drivers or truck drivers and things. And like that's cool because heaps of us don't really want to work here anymore because the government sucks. But then because we don't work, there's like a massive disparity between like the cities and other places, like so just me leaving the city, meant that I didn't have to work like 40 plus hours a week or something because of the rent. Like in the city, the rent was I think it's, hold on, I think 100 American dollars is 160 New Zealand dollars or something like that. But I'll be talking in New Zealand dollars. So rent over in the city is like $800, maybe 800, you know, including some utilities and stuff. That's pretty low, like in the center somewhere, or maybe like 400, 500, like further you go out from a city, the city. There's not too many cities in the country, but out here in the rural, it's like $200, and you get owned in the house, you know, like you're going to own the thing in the future, whereas in the cities, like you're renting it forever. And then not to mention being bombarded with advertising for fast food and all this rubbish everywhere, which you know, if I wanted to get some, I could, but it's ages away. I'd have to. It's not fast, you know. It's probably quicker for me to make a sandwich, but then sandwiches going extinct too. So it's a tough world. But yeah, leaving the city, like, to save money, to work less, definite the best route.
Yeah, let's. I'm going to take a quick break, I think, because we've been going for a little bit. I'll put up my. So this thing I did, it's with Rhino, this whole Bronto thing. I don't know if you know anything about it, but Red Pill Rhino and I have been going back and forth with the existence of Brontosaurus. So I made some shirts and whatnot, and I stuck it on his website because I own redpillrhino.com, because he didn't have the insight to, and nothing against you, Rhino, but he didn't have the insight to buy it. So I did. But, you know, I pretty much have his, it's basically all about him, but then I just stuck my stuff on the bottom there. So.
And which side are you on? Does it exist or does it not exist?
Well, I found evidence that it does exist. I always.
Oh yeah. I hope you didn't find it in Australia.
No. Actually, it was a guy. Now, who was it? Shit. I'd have to watch my own video. I think it was Portugal. A scientist in Portugal has confirmed the existence of Brontosaurus.
And so that's the one with the long neck, eats trees, sitting on the back with missile launchers, right?
Yes, exactly. Yes, exactly.
That's the guy.
That's the guy.
Well, yeah, I remember my ancestors leaving a note saying the Brontosaurus rolled up and stole his bike. So
that could be true. So after this quick break, it's like a minute and something. We'll talk about like some farming stuff. I want to show like a couple of your videos of just the chickens and whatnot running around, and we'll get into that. Sound good?
Yeah, all good.
All right, let's put this up real quick. Go pee. If anybody's got pee, go pee. enough of that silliness. Let's get this removed. All right. Yes, you can find those at redpillrhino.com, along with everything Red Pill Rhino related. Okay. Oh, yes. And MGTOW Outlaw. Yes. I did put the squirrel in just for you. Not kidding. That was for you. All right. You there, Shinobi?
That's I am right here.
All
What
right,
was
cool.
it that we were just listening to? I had to freeze the screen and switch my ice pack because my phone's overheating. I wasn't able to watch it, but I'll take 2.
It's good. You got to go to redpillrhino.com. The music is just YouTube. You know, they have a whole library of stuff you could use without them, striking you or whatnot. I'm sure I'll get some kind of copyright claim for the music I used at the beginning, but I don't give a fuck.
And
Oh,
can I trade chickens or ducks to buy the thing?
that's a good question. I don't think chicken or duck. I don't think the website will take chicken or ducks.
I'm just fresh out of money right now, but I've got all this fresh flesh.
Yeah. Oh, so speaking of which, I want to put up your chicken video because
Yeah, I forgot what I sent you. I've got like so many in my phone. You'd think it'd be full of other stuff, but it's full of animals. I was like, I'll just send a bunch of things, and I know a bunch of what I sent was actually empty, but I hope something got through.
Here, let's see. Here's some.
Cheers, everyone. By the way, I'm also drinking beer.
Chickens and some sheep there. I think that's it. That's the whole video, but it's beautiful country.
What are we looking at here? Sunrise or something?
No, that's pretty much a nuke going off. City. I'm nuking the city.
Just straight across. That's my mountain range that hides the sun in the morning, I think, over there. And it's pretty mean actually going up there. It's about 1,000 meters high, which is probably like 3,300 feet or something.
Wow.
It'd be all right to stop a small tsunami or to hide from, but I don't think it's high enough to survive from Noah's Flood 2.0.
So, well, let's talk about New Zealand for a few minutes because I always wanted to go to that other place that we won't mention, but you're just to the right of there. So, if somebody wanted to go to New Zealand, where would be some like cool stuff to do?
Geez, hey, why would you want to come to a place that hates people?
Well, is it?
No, yeah, I guess like this. Okay, so there's every landscape on the planet. It's just quicker to get to. You're not separated by thousands of miles or whatever. Like if I wanted to go to the snow, it's about 3 hours that way. If I wanted to go to the beach, it's probably like an hour or two that way. So like, it's whatever your hobby is. We probably have it here, and then maybe the drawing factor would be that there's just not many people. So like you don't have to deal with like outrageous lines and stuff. Like I mean there are lines in places like that are busy, but I mean are you gonna come to New Zealand on roller coasters? You got roller coasters where you come from probably. So it'd be like maybe you'd come here to see some like nature that hasn't been touched by mankind or that was touched by mankind ages ago and you just have to dig it back up. Or like I guess maybe you want to escape from like all the other perils in the world because we're sort of way down here at the bottom. Like our next enemy would be Australia, and that's why we just deny existence. So like if they were to try to do anything, you're like, nah, bro, you guys don't exist. So like it's sort of like you'd come here to, I guess, just relax, like to chill out.
Well, they filmed Lord of the Rings there, from what I recall. So you could go see, I guess, all the places they shot the movie if you're into the movie. I mean, the landscapes were incredible in that movie.
Yeah, there is that, like people who go visit movie scenes and stuff. Like you could go see the like there's a whole map. You could go across the whole country and see different parts. Where I stay in the middle of New Zealand, like in the middle of the North Island of New Zealand, it's like the Hobbiton, the Hobbits. They got the whole movie set here. I mean, I've never seen the movie. I've never gone to it. I could. It's probably like it's about an hour that way. Like I could just go see it, but I could just put the movie on. So I'm not, you know, like I'm not that sort of inclined to go see it. And I heard it's expensive as to go see it. Actually, that's one of the big problems of this country is like the price of things is like real expensive. They went and took capitalism and just went nuts with it. And like, yeah, you can get everything you want here, but you'd have to work real hard for it. I suppose that's why everyone here works so hard and why everyone was so keen to have a break.
Gotcha. Yeah. Well, I mean, and they raised your taxes, to pay for the jabs that, you know, that's
Yeah, bloody taxes.
yeah. What's the tax rate there look like?
It's like a staggered brackets where like see because I earn like hardly anything. I'm in like the bottom bracket where I pay like I think it's 13% tax, so it's like hardly anything. Um, and then the next bracket up is like 17% tax, and there's probably a few people in there and stuff, but the majority of people was in like the next bracket of tax, which is like 25, 22, 25% or something like that.
Hmm.
But then if you work a second job, your second job gets taxed like 33%. And then like the further you go up, it's like from the 20 to 33% and so on until you're paying like an outrageous tax that I don't even know about because it's obscene amounts of money that I, never even dream of seeing. Because like most people, I think it's like $2 million. I think $2 million is a lifetime of money. If you were to like calculate in New Zealand dollars, if you were to calculate like in a minimum wage sort of hourly wage over 40 years or 40 hours or something, and $2 million doesn't really sound like much, especially when like the dream used to be that you would have like a family, a house, and a car, and maybe a batch. Well, your house now is about $2 million. So, and if that's a lifetime's worth of money, like yo, nobody's going to be able to afford anything. Like if you're in the minimum like the minimum to middle class, like you're going to be a permanent renter now, unless like the people before you saw fit to like give you a step up or something. And you know how a lot of I don't want to like blame it all on the boomers, but a lot of the people before us decided to like sell the house and run with the money on a holiday. Like one of my friends who used to live over the hill from this farm, his family, like the kids all left and did things, and then they sold the farm and they live on an island with a yacht now, and all the kids, have to make their own way, and that's cool. Like whatever, hard yards, but it means like they'll never have that farm again, like ever, unless they can really make up heaps of money, like an unknown amount of money for the jobs. Like they'll never have it again, right? And like this farm that I'm on, there's no way I'd ever be able to have it, and there's no way I'd be able to give it to my son if it wasn't for my grandparents and my father. And I guess the environment we live in, who made us the people we are, where we're gonna like keep everything in our clan and like just give it to the next station. Like you're not gonna charge your kids to be your kids and get your land. No, like this. If anything, I'm just a steward for this to make sure that the government doesn't ever get it.
Yeah.
Like,
So
and that should be a motto, like sell nothing. Like if it's to come with land or something, like the moment you sell it, you've lost, because that was a piece of the earth ship. And what's more valuable than a piece of the planet, especially in a capitalistic world? Like when the flood takes over again, money and deeds and titles mean nothing. But at the moment, it's everything.
yeah. Well, so would you say that it's normal to sell out and make the profit there as opposed to what you're doing, holding on to the land?
Yeah, fully normal for people to do that. They'll do things where they'll like remortgage their house to buy a new house, to remortgage that house to buy a new house, to buy a new house, to buy a new house, and just keep doing this damn property game. Like the careers for rich people who are like running the land, or by proxy running the land through their actions, buying houses, sitting on houses to sell houses, to buy houses, to build houses, to buy houses, because I used to build them and stuff, and they would get smaller and more cramped, and then like more squished in, and then they'd lobby the government to like change the rules so they can squish in more houses, and then and more, and then they'd subdivide and chop up the land and stuff. And like I've seen like a 50% like tree to house ratio turn into like 3-story highs, like tiny little shoebox apartments that are worth like near $1 million. And that's and because they're there next to the next one, and because someone's buying it, but they're selling it to immigrants and stuff. It's like a thing where they have to buy a house, otherwise you can't get your residency like quicker. And so they're doing this fake sort of manipulated property market to boom the housing and the property. Is since I've been around, it's like nearly triple or quadrupled. Like houses were never $1 million unless it was like a mansion, you know.
Hmm.
And now it's like shit boxes are $1 million, and people are playing this. What do you call it? Like keeping up with the Joneses or the Kardashians or whatever. You know, like they're playing that game, which was never a New Zealand game. Like that came from overseas. You know, we never wanted to keep up with people because we always have way too much here. But now it's like, you know, I'm looking at my neighbor's house. It's like maybe 500 meters away, and they're the only people around for ages. But in the city, I wouldn't even be able to see that far because there's 1,000 people around me, all trying to pay like everything to be there, just to be there in the city. Whereas it's like I'm getting paid to be here, basically doing nothing. I mean, I'm lucky, but you know, other people who live out here in the rural areas, they make it. They crack heaps of money.
So, besides the housing costs, is there like, for example, I know I've known somebody who lived in Hawaii, and everything was crazy expensive. Groceries,
Yeah.
cars, because everything has to be brought in because Hawaii doesn't make anything. Do you have a lot of imports, or do you generate a lot in country, or like how is the cost of living for things just in general?
Well, like everything since they took out that loan, everything is like damn near doubled or tripled in price. But that's like a result of the money printing for, you know, like by taking the loan out and flooding our country with that much money. And what it is like, you know, a can of Coca-Cola used to be like $1, and now it's probably about $3. And what's something else that's common? Oh yeah, like okay, so my food bill probably would have been about $50 to $100, depending on how many snacks or how many like, you know, things that I probably shouldn't buy that I bought. And now it's probably close to $250. Like if I was to go and buy like everything I wanted.
Wow.
The gas, you know, the thing that really fucking annoys me with the gas is like that Jacinda bitch, she's all like, oh, gas is getting high. Okay, so we're just gonna take the government tax off the gas for a moment. And it's like, okay, so and they took that off and it was like heaps, you know, they dropped the gas down by like a third and everyone was happy. But the companies had previously like hiked prices on logistics and everything that uses gas because the gas was high, right? So
Mhm.
like the price went up because of that. The gas got reduced. Everyone was like patted on the head and placated. But now the tax is going back onto the gas, and then the companies are rising their prices and stuff again. But like they'd already hiked the prices like half a year ago when the gas went up, right? So it's like they're double taxing people for the good on the gas that has just gone up to the price it was 6 months ago, you know? So like the can of Coke is going to be $3.50 now, whereas opposed to it being $2.50 going up 50 cents because of the gas. And then now the gas has gone back to what it was, so it's going up again. And something's just ridiculous over here and that's what's made me like, you know, open my eyes to the fact that maybe I don't want to even earn $1. Like if I earn that dollar, they're going to get like 20 cents tax off it, right? And but I earned that dollar from someone else who earned it, so they already paid 20 cents tax on the dollar that they gave me, and now I'm paying for it again. And then if I don't burn the dollar, if I don't dig that dollar into a hole and I spend it, they're going to get tax on it again, again. And then that dollar will end up in the bank, and the bank will see the dollar and be like, I can loan this dollar 10 times. And so they make $10 out of or $9 off the $1 or something, and hold that as a reserve for the $9 loan. And it just, that $1 that I decided to be like, yeah, I'll sell you my duck egg for $1, has just generated how much tax and loans for the future. So now I'm just like, I don't even want to participate in any of the shenanigans. The least I can do is too much. you know.
So um, the gas situation. Do you guys? Is there any kind of production or drilling, or is everything shipped in?
Oh yeah, that's something Jacinda did too, right? When she got into power, she was like, no more drilling, no more exploration, no more investment and stuff. What we've got is what we got, and we're closing that shit down or something. So they're like, I think a lot of this country imports stuff from outside, and we do export things. We've got shitloads of meat and heaps of water, and basically all of these animals flourish. Got tons of plants and all of that, and so food we export quite a lot of, but we import heaps of knickknacks and bric-a-brac and all this junk, and then with the oil, I think that when we got oil as civilization, it expedited everything. We could now wage war en masse. We can do heaps of cool stuff with logistics. We build skyscrapers and stuff with oil. And so a major form of control, I think, is that there's these backdoor channels to the politicians that we'll never know that tell them to shut down all of this production. So that we have to rely on import, because say we want to turn hostile, they'll just turn the tap off, and now it's much harder for us to move anything around or do anything. So I think we probably import shitloads of oil.
That's interesting. Well, I mean, how hard are they going in on the whole green deal?
Well, I think they were saying, I heard on the radio the other day, they want to shut down all the coal plants and things, and I was like, I thought they'd already done that in this country. So there's these so the dynamic in New Zealand, right, is we have native people, the Maori, and everyone else basically, and everyone else is just multicultural. We're all one people, but the political people want to make it so that the Maori people have more say than everyone else in political things and stuff, and there has to be a certain amount of them on decision making boards and junk like that, and it's really racist to be honest. And I was thinking about changing my status as a normal general election voter to a Maori voter, because I've got some Maori blood in me, right? So I could just be like, yo, I'm Maori, I'm gonna vote on the Maori roll. And it's that in itself, the fact that there's two different versions of elections is weird, that it's a two-series thing. And the reason I wanted to change is because when I was looking at it, and it breaks down to being everyone gets 1 unit of say for their vote, but these Maori votes get 1.5 units of say to each
Really?
vote. Yeah, and I was like, this is fucked up. And I don't even want to vote, because I think it doesn't matter anymore. So I'm not even going to bother. But if I was going to bother, I'd be like, well, this is fucked up. I should just join the Maori vote, because then I've got more say for my vote, right? And then also there's different positions open. Like I was saying, they get allocated positions instead of that only they can fill, instead of the other people. So if you were to try to run as a politician or a candidate for mayor or some official, and you were Maori, then you get 1.5 times the chance of getting in, as opposed to everyone else.
That's fascinating. I often wonder how much longer until they start rolling out that sort of thing here with depending on your race or your sex or your sexual preference, will you get more um, like you said, like instead of one, your vote counting as one, it counts as 1.5.
Yeah, well, imagine they're like, oh, so you're a Looney Tune? It's like, okay, you've got 2 votes or something.
It's
You can
mental.
vote as him and you can vote as her. Okay, wait, you've got a 3rd vote. You can vote as they or something like that.
Well, I wonder like how much longer till that happens. I posted some time ago a thing. It was at a government service. I can't remember what it was now, but it basically says, if you fall within these parameters, you could cut the line, basically. Oh, are those ducks I'm hearing?
Yeah, so the ducks are out there. I was just tipping out a drink for them to drink, but they're looking at me like the water's all run out. They'll ruin water in like half a day. So
Oh,
so I
yeah.
just put a up out of my studio. Like I'm in the car because it's got the better like sound quality and they can't hear the tractors and shit. But yeah, they're
Okay.
all out there like, where's the water? And this one duck that you could hear does like a head bobbing movement, and she's all like, I want water, I want water, but there's no water in there. Like just keep smacking her bill against it.
Calliope, let me find it. She had another question for you. If any of you guys want to have any questions that you want to ask the mighty Shinobi Wan, go right ahead and ask. But Calliope's question was, please do the women in New Zealand live up to the U.S. thoughts we generally see on TikTok?
Interesting question.
Yeah.
Like, see, I've sort of been out of the game for a while because like I found a new purpose for my life, and like it doesn't revolve around like lust or sex or money, and like because of that I've got like nothing in common with them. And so like I mean, yeah, I'm like, if I was to go to the pub, because it's cheaper to make your own beer, but if I was to go to the pub or a bar or a club, find some woman, and then they'll be like, I just game them to get the sex, because obviously that's what I want. I'm like, we're gonna play a game here, we're gonna do a little dance, and I'm gonna get the sex, and then we're gonna leave. But like they start talking about shit, and then I remember that like 95% of people kicked me out of everything, and I just look at them and I'm like, well, you're part of the 95%. They're like, no, I'm not. Pick me. I'm not the 95%. I'm like, did you get vaccinated? You did all this shit. You fucking pissed me off. Like, so they are like that. They're exactly like what they see, because all of the idols come out of America, right? Like, what New Zealand idols you got? You got Moana. You're gonna be Princess Moana or something like. What's this New Zealand idol we're gonna live up to? So they all look at these bitches overseas and all these things overseas, and like, what's the thing, right? They get rich off the internet for just getting flown out to Dubai or go go and do these things or whatever. Like, I'll just take quick snaps on the internet. It's not forever. Don't worry about that. And then boom, they get a few dollars and it goes straight to their stupid head. And like, I'm done with all of that. But because I've got a son, I try to keep up with like what's going on the internet so that maybe I can teach him things that are relevant. Like, none of the dating or anything's relevant to him yet, but I know I'll lose touch with it all. So I sort of got to keep in touch with what's happening. And by doing that, I just watch what all the brothers put out on their videos, and by proxy see the stupidity that's going on. But then, I know that's not everybody, but then like the exception doesn't make the rule. So, this still happens here. It's like New Zealand gets everything that you have just a little bit later, you know?
Mm.
So like the other week we got a thing called the microwave oven, and that's awesome. Like I've been out here digging fire pits and making fires and stuff, cook on, but this microwave oven, you like just put it in there and press the button and it does all the business. So we get what you guys get. We'll understand what you're talking about.
It's amazing. Wait till you get disco.
Disco. Well, what happens to the girls when you get disco?
Well, it's they make quite a spectacle of themselves.
Because we got the vacuum and they stopped cleaning, we got the microwave oven and they stopped cooking. What happens when you get the disco?
SEC wants to know, does anyone actually live on the South Island? Well, yeah, you got Christchurch down there, right?
Yeah.
So, all right, what's the population ratio north to south?
I think there's like 1 million people on the South Island, so that would leave like 4 million in the North Island. The South Island, right, is like, it's obviously south of the North Island. There's a little break in between where there's like a channel and you got to take a ferry across, like no bridges or trains or anything. And what about it? Our Alps, our Southern Alps, like break that whole island in twain, like right down the bottom. There's a fault line that goes through Christchurch up to the mountains down there, and they're massive. They're like always snow covered. Down at the bottom is like it all cracks out and goes into the sea, and there's like a tiny island there. But the Christchurch around there, I think that's like where you guys have a USA base or something, because it's the closest place to Antarctica.
Mm-hmm.
And like often they'll launch heaps of rescue missions from there and things like that, or like science missions off from there down to the Antarctic, because it's pretty quick to get down there.
Now, speaking of north and south, is there like a difference between people from a certain part of the island and different parts? Like for us, it's like, the people from the north are different from the people from the south. Do you have such a thing there?
I think with the races, like we're all pretty similar over the island. Like in the past, the Maoris used to have different tribes that were at war with each other and stuff. But then like once they got guns, they sorted that out pretty quick. And then like all the scumbags probably live in the North Island. All the politicians and stuff like that. Because the cities are bigger. There's more money in the North Island. But then the South Island is massive. Like if you were to buy a piece of property down there, you'd get something twice or triple the size what you get somewhere else.
One fast stack wants to know, how is Leo doing?
Oh yeah, I was looking at him before. I don't know where he went. He's all good. He had a bad case of the fleas the other day, because it's like that they'll come along in seasons, like fleas coming in and something. Or maybe he went up and saw this bitch up on the hill. It's this dog that came down and like chased my chickens and ducks around for a bit. But I think she's in heat. But she's also got fleas apparently. So I just shaved him, and he's got like, I think you've got one fast stack, the mustache. Those big mustaches, like they come down to like almost mutton chops. I gave him something like that, and then and short like rat dog hair or something. Because he's like a miniature schnauzer, he's got to have the mustache. I was thinking about giving him a mohawk or something, but
ooh. That would be kind of fun.
And he pissed me off the other day though. Like he's running around, like I'm just driving like down the road a little bit, and he does this weird maneuver where you think they're gonna run in front of the car, and you're like, oh damn it, I don't want to squish my dog, so you like hit the brakes, and then everything flies off your seats and falls everywhere, and you're like, damn it, dog! Like you get out real mad at them and shit, like get the fuck out of here.
That's funny. So, all right, you're on a farm. What kind of stuff do you grow there? Do you grow stuff, I imagine? Sounds like you do.
I think I've been here for like nearly 4 years now, 3 or 4 years. And like I started to grow heaps of vegetables and things, and it was going good. And then I was raising a heap of chickens, and that was going good. Then I got ducks, and the ducks like ruined every water source and like started exploding in number. So I just have to sell them off, like, or whatever, when they get too many of them. But then I got these bloody sheep, and they ate everything. They fucking ate everything, like everything. It's a spiky hedge that no one dares go near, and they eat it up until like wherever they can't reach. So like 1.5 meters up, it's like barren until there's this big like top piece, and they try to itch themselves and stuff and break your fences. And then like I tried to fence. I did like a YouTube video on it a while ago. I was going to make a sweet garden and stuff, but then what they did is one of them was like itching its head on the fence, and then the other sheep like used that sheep as a battering ram and like pushed her through the fence and to like bust my fences down. And they do this with every fence, where they like push other sheep into the fence to break the fence so they can eat your food.
That's pretty fucked up. Is
it?
But so wait a minute. So is it always like one sheep getting pushed in, or is it like is there like one that's like, oh, it's him again who got pushed
Yeah,
in?
it's definitely that.
Really?
There's like, so there's two sheep that like are lazy, and then there's one sheep that's real cheeky, and one sheep that's real tough. And the tough sheep's always the one they push into the fences, and it's never this lazy one. I'm looking at her right now; she's just sitting down. And then there's, because they're all girls, and then the other two are the ones that push this tough sheep into the fences. And it's like I'll plant a tree, and the tree will be like, sheep hate this, or like I'll search on the net and they'll be like, sheep don't like this, and I'm like, sweet, okay, I'll plant these trees. And I planted two of them just to test it out, and they ate the shit out of them, and now I've got two sticks, and they're not even like, what you'd think is like a dead tree. They're like whittled down because they like use their bottom teeth and like grate the tree into like sharp spikes and try and eat pieces off it. Like they're similar to goats where they'll try to eat anything.
Mm, yeah, that
Yeah.
people use goats to, or at least around here, to maintain their lawn.
Oh, my lawn's tiny. Yeah, the sheep and goats, they would do the job. Like I haven't mown this lawn in like 2 years or a year or something, and it's so tiny. Like I gotta let them out and put them in this paddock to my other side over here. But they'll break out of it and then come home like every night or whatever. And like they came home last night, and so I threw them in here, and I probably should take them out there, but I sort of punished them after a bit. I'm like, stop breaking out. You can stay here, and I'll take you out to that paddock for dinner.
That's
But yeah.
funny.
Well, because
Life.
I did want to get them all of these multiple birth animals, because when you get the animals that give like one animal as a birth, then it's sort of the productions are much lower for like your effort.
Hmm.
And so sheep can give out a couple each time, especially these ones. These are all twins. Like each one of these ones was a twin, so they carry the twin genes. And like we had one give birth last year, I think it was, to just one singular lamb. But then I wasn't there at the time, and the other lambs like rucked it and jumped on it and killed it or something. Or
Oh,
it didn't,
jeez.
and it didn't survive. After that, we sort of kept it in, and it didn't survive. But like eventually, I'm gonna get another ram and try and do it again. So these girls are like 2 years old now, so might be a bit better for them or something.
SEC says in some parts of the world you'd be considered a pimp with a Y.
I think most of the pimps are cucked by the government now, aren't they?
No, I mean, well, yes and no. I mean, there's still guys who are running girls up and down, and they just do it differently. They do it digitally via,
Uh, yeah,
websites and stuff.
probably for crypto or something, because the moment you exchange your money into a government's money, you're giving them something.
Well, so here they're at the end of this month, they're coming out with this thing called Fed Now, which is digital currency. Are
Yeah,
they
I've been looking at that.
Yeah, are they doing anything like that by you?
Well, when you guys do it, it'll come to us. Like whatever the allies do ends up in the allies' hands.
Hmm.
And so, like, I think our country's already one of those countries that's like signed on with the WHO, signed on with the Fed, signed on with everyone, ready to implement all these strategies. And then our population will be like, 90% will just immediately agree and bend over. And then it'll be, like once that happens, it's on. They just institute it and everyone else will suck it up.
One fast stack has an interesting it's several part question really. So he wants to know, do you have well water? Do you have electricity? And how do you heat?
Hmm. So it doesn't get too cold here. Like we'll get frosts on the ground. It's never snowed, so I mean it gets cold, but it doesn't get to the point where a snowfall. And we've got this well over, like, you can't see, but it's like over there. There's like a place. It's probably 500, maybe a kilometer away, just over there, and it gets like electrically pumped out of the ground from our bore to like every trough, and then my place is sort of on the hill, so it sort of gets the water last. So like if it's a really hot day and the cows are drinking all the trough water, then I won't get any water until like when they stop drinking.
Hmm.
But with the electricity, that comes from the stupid ass power company. And I'm real mad at them at the moment because like last year I was paying like $250 like a month, and now it's like $500 a month for power. And
Oh boy.
I'm like, this is freaking ridiculous. I was like, this is ridiculous. They're like, what's happened? And they're like, oh, gas prices and COVID. And I was like, it's bloody excuses. They always use that. And so I've been saving to get some solar gear or something, but I'm actually going to put more effort into getting the solar setup going where I can generate enough power for my place, because it's pretty ridiculous paying that. I mean, I don't really mind paying it because the plants that I do have growing, I've got them inside away from the animals, so that way they can't get into like this room that I'd use for growing. And like that uses a bunch of power, probably like 1,000 watts of power or something. And like, I could turn that off and maybe my power bill would be way down, but the amount of money growing your own vices saves you is ridiculous. So it's like a saving money by doing that. But shortly, I'm going to get the solar setup going, so then I can at least use it to pump water from the well or the bore, and then power my lights. And then if I have to substitute any extra power from the power company, then I'll probably just do it that way. But it's like maybe I'm about a year away, maybe half a year away from conquering power, and then after that, perhaps I'll try and sort these. I might even get rid of the sheep so then I can grow food. It's just I really like the idea of eating lamb when in the future I can't afford to eat food or buy food. I want to have the meals that I like to eat. On hand, ready.
Crusader Nate wants to know, do you have a good wind setup or set up smaller wind turbine for electricity?
Bro, it's funny you mentioned this, and it's not funny, but like we just had like a real severe windstorm like 2 days ago, and I've got this like, it's sort of like a pop-up container where you like set it up the walls, you put the roof on and everything like that wherever you want. What is it, like 20 foot by 10 foot can sort of contain, no, 20 foot by 8 foot or whatever container. And I had it for like Lego and toys and a little bit of storage for my boy to have as like a toy room. And the other day, 2 days ago, I was like windy as. I walk into the kitchen and look out the window at it, and the wind picks it up, dumps it on the ground, and then like rips the roof off. And then I'm like, what the fuck? And like the roof, like I clicked at it, but it went like 300 meters down the road, got caught in like a tree line. And now I'm looking at it right now. Like I've stropped up and tied back 2 walls that didn't get blown away. 1 wall is flat packed. I don't know how the ranch slider didn't, like the glass door didn't break. But yeah, the wind here is extreme sometimes. So I've got the place for a wind setup, and I was looking at this old windmill down the road. It was like a couple $1,000 to get this windmill. So I was thinking, like, I do want to generate some power with the wind. So I'm gonna explore all these avenues because I've got real good access to wind, like really good. It's just sometimes the wind is too high, and I don't know enough about windmills yet to just buy a random windmill. Like, you buy this old windmill, and then like the blades come flying off like a helicopter and chop the friggin' sheeps in half or something. Like this
Oh my
roof
God.
was nuts. Like when I went and collected pieces of this roof, it was like embedded a couple feet, like razor blade into the grass.
Oh my
But yeah,
God.
if I could have killed it on video, I would have. I should have sent you some pictures actually. I don't know if that's sent through in real time right now, but so good. I'll have to. What I'm going to do is like tear it apart, and I'm going to use the pieces to build like an underground bunker, because I've
there
been
you
meaning to do that, but I just lacked sort of some pieces of material. But now I've got a few pieces, so I can definitely do that.
It sounds like you don't really need one where you are, because it sounds like you're pretty far enough away from any kind of craziness to need a bunker. Am I right with that?
Well, yeah, that's right. And if I did build a bunker, it would be insufficient to stop what would actually arrive, probably. So when I say bunker, it's probably more like going to be like an underground, like den of evil, or like some sort of place where I hide like unvaccinated people when the Gestapo are coming by, or like a games room or something.
Oh, jeez. Um, okay, so I want to talk about just a little bit because I don't like to go long with these shows, but I want to talk just a little bit about, and if anything is uncomfortable, you could be vague or whatever. How you came to into the manosphere? How did you, or at least this side of the manosphere?
Yeah. Like it's been a while, but I can distinctly remember the question that led me down this road, and it was like I was suffering some ordeals with the missus and like the kid and the situation I had all those years ago, and it was like, um, what did I do wrong? Like you're like, what's the keyboard sound? Like the click, 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 like you're typing that into the search engine or the YouTube's like, what did I do wrong? Like
Mm.
why did it not work out? Like, why does she want to leave? Or like, why is she taking the kid? Why? Like this big question. And it's obviously like a major question because the first things that popped up are like heaps of roaches, like
Oh yeah.
pickup artists and stuff. Like, I'll tell you why, oh, this is why. And I was like, oh, I don't even know you, but you know why? And they're like, yeah, I know why. And they're like, buy my book. They're like, join this paywall is stopping you from getting all of your answers and stuff. And so, like, just because of this whole grift for money, this whole like scam for cash, or like we're gonna fiat the force into you with our knowledge. And I was like, this isn't the way. I wanted to find like a way to get this information for free. And like that started me like to find, it took a lot more searches to find it for free. And then I can't remember who I found first, but it might have been Undead Chronic, like ages ago. And then quickly to Sandman and like Terrence Pop and heaps of other channels that everyone will know. And then there was like a little channel that was talking about stuff, and they were like, you know what? The message dies every time a creator gets kicked off or something, because even though it gets repeated and repeated and repeated until it's so boring or whatever, or it's so mundane, like you're repeating it that much in case there's a new set of eyes that appear, and they're not going to get like a diluted, outdated, like weird message. They're going to get the free message that is correct. And yeah, that person was like, well, everyone should make videos, just even about anything, and then that way, like it can still be out. There's still the option for someone to ask you something like that they don't know, and you can give it to them for free. And that's just my whole thing, is that the truth should be for free. And
Right.
so I didn't initially like find MGTOW or the Red Pill by searching for it straight up. I was more searching like, what can I do to make, like, what did I do wrong, right, at first? And then so the answer to that is nothing. Like, you did nothing wrong. This is just how things are. And then instead of getting stuck on the why, it's more about like, well, what now? What should I do now? And
Mm.
then ever since then, the what now has fulfilled itself, because I just found a better purpose in life.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, I had a very similar situation where I was with this woman who wanted to get married again, and I wasn't getting married, and she wanted to join bank accounts and all this stuff, and I just flat out refused, would not do it, and she had me convinced that I was the problem. Um, I have major issues. I need to let go of the past, all this stuff. She had me going to a psychiatrist thinking, I really thought that there was like some major issues I needed to work through.
Yeah.
Why am I acting like this? So I
That's
did.
it, right? They gaslight you, and then it's like me. Like my first question was not like, "Why is she doing this?" It was like, "What did I do?"
Yep.
Like, and so you once you get out of that sort of self doubt, then it's a much easier road. But the fact that we're all brought up in like this like enclosure of self doubt, the like we didn't know, none of us knew. It's like a massive awakening once you see it, and you're like, I can never unsee this now. I know the truth. And then you're like, who can I tell the truth to? Like, I need to open some eyes, and then you quickly lose a few friends, and then you're like, then you come to the realization that nobody knows the truth, or they're not ready for the truth, or they already know the truth, and then you both like do that like silent nod where you're like, yep,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. Well, for me, I like to make people laugh, and I like to. So my message. I don't really dip that hard into the red pill stuff because there's so many guys who do it way better than
Yeah,
I could. There's Hammer and Pop and all those guys. So it's like I like to entertain people and make them feel like hey, life isn't so bad because everybody gets to a part of their life when they've gone through some shit and you just feel like you can never laugh again. That when it's kind of like I don't know how it was in New Zealand, but here after the center, the 9/11 happened, it was like, can I laugh at jokes again? Like, when can I smile? Like, it just felt
yeah.
like there wasn't a time to that you could ever feel like you could smile or laugh or joke again. And I
Well,
just want,
it's almost like that thing where it's so bad I can never laugh, but then it gets so bad that you have to laugh. You
hmm,
know, that's all you can do.
yeah, yeah,
And
well,
like it does get that way. Like it wasn't that bad here in New Zealand with the trade towers, but I was quite young, so but it was definitely a shock. Like an eye opener for people that saying like, oh, the world's evil out there, and then
mm,
like also even if it was an orchestrated event just to pass laws, that's still an eye opener, and the fact that they have to pass these laws to corral the public because they themselves don't obey the laws, and then the fact that they're passing them means that there is people out there that's not obeying the laws, and so it's really better to just do whatever you want, like and live a mean life or live a good life or something, but you're still gonna reap what you sow, like, and it's just bad that we can't, that there's not like a massive secret hidden agenda of assassins out there just killing bad people and like, yeah, this guy's bad, we took him out for you. Chalk that one up to like our secret friendly assassin or something, the neighborhood assassin who just took out that tyrant before it got too bad. But we're already past the point of it's too bad. Maybe it's not past the point of no return, but it's pretty bad
it is pretty bad.
that like we have to laugh, like with the message. I also I tend to not mention much about women or anything on my channel because I just see it as irrelevant. Like I'd rather do something else on the channel and leave the message up to greater minds, like you're saying, like the other fellas or something.
Hmm.
I mean, if they all disappear, well, perhaps it will be our time to go up there and spread the message like that. But for the moment, it's really just like anyone who asks, yeah, I'll help them out to do whatever I can, like within my power to help out someone.
Cool. Did you? I think we're gonna wrap it up real soon. Did you? It's been awesome talking to you and learning about your life down there and learning about New Zealand. Again, that was always somewhere I wanted to go. I don't know if I want to go so much anymore.
I have actually been to Australia. When I was younger, I traveled. Well, I never actually lived in a singular spot. My parents always traveled around the world, and so that's why I think I really love staying in one place at the moment because
Mm,
I was always a traveler. And like for Australia, I traveled right around the outside and through the middle, and so like I've probably been to more places in Australia than other Australians. And I've done the same to this country too, like traveled everywhere on it in other countries and stuff. But it also has all of the landscapes of the globe that, if you wanted to see a desert, you go to desert. You want to see snow, yes, there's snow in Australia. You want to see like blue water, you go there. You see anything. There's all the bedrock formations and like cave art from 50,000 years ago and stuff. Like, there's heaps of crazy things. Like, it's a pretty cool place, to be honest. Like, the exchange rate for money and stuff and what they've is better than here. It's just the difference in in some, something like everything, there's just small differences. But it is a decent country, the old Australia.
Believe it or not, I when I was in high school, I had the thought of going to live there, and then I got hooked up with a chick, and she convinced me otherwise. But I always liked it for the cars, the car culture. Mad
Oh
Max.
yeah, good cars over there. Yeah, they
Oh,
are lots of immaculate cars. Like, see over here, you'll see a lot of broken cars and like dented things driving around the road. But over there, yeah, they take a lot of pride in their cars and stuff.
yeah, yeah. It had Australia to me has a very similar culture to the U.S., but just a little off. All right.
Yeah, well, because we're still part of the Queen and stuff and all that, Australia and New Zealand. But
Yeah.
as allies, like the Canada, US, UK, Australia, New Zealand, some others, and all that, we all share like heaps of, we import each other's accents and quirks and things like that, especially with the internet and stuff. How connected each of our countries are now.
Oh yeah. Well, in some ways that's bad because it used to be you could go somewhere and you would go almost for those differences, for the local dialect, the local food, the local thinking, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And now it's like they want us all to be the same no matter where you go. It's almost like a corporatism, corporate
Well, yeah, I
store.
imagine that's what it's going to be even worse in the future. I'm probably glad I traveled the world when I did because I got to see a lot of the unique cultures of the world, especially places that were like, they just didn't like it when you spoke your language in their country. And you're like, oh, well, I get it. This is your place. Like the uniqueness. Whereas now it's like English everywhere. You're going somewhere. It's like you're in McDonald's with rice hats on. You're in McDonald's with turbans on. You're in McDonald's with like skirts on or something. You're in McDonald's with different colored skin, whatever. It's all the same, like 15-minute city printed out and stamped everywhere.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, that it's the like you were talking before, the New World Order, the one world government.
Yeah, been
Just
living in it for 100 years or more.
yeah. Well, I think we're really accelerating now to
Yeah.
quite a point, which sucks.
Hey,
Um,
before
yeah,
we go,
yeah.
I thought we were going to be doing this thing yesterday, but I had it mixed up in my mind. But I'd written down this thing for the 4th of July, but I think it's the 5th of July where you are now, isn't it?
It is, but us freedom loving, independent loving kind of people, we could listen to
Well, I
that
think
kind of stuff at any time.
I think I think you guys will know where this comes from, but
Okay.
unfortunately, I think my phone's giving me red light warnings for the heat because my ice pack's melted. So
Uh oh.
I'll give you this little speech, and then I'll just quietly like drop off the line.
All right. Cool.
All right. Oh wait, what time is it over there?
Well, I'm Eastern Standard, so it's 10:46
PM.
p.m. Yes.
All right, because I'll change the start from good morning to good evening.
Okay.
All right. Good evening. Good evening. In less than an hour, aircraft from here will join others from around the world, and you will be launching the largest aerial battle in the history of mankind. Mankind. That word should have new meaning for all of us today. We can't be consumed by our petty differences anymore. We will be united in our common interests. Perhaps it's fate that today is the 4th of July, and you will once again be fighting for our freedom, not from tyranny, oppression, or persecution, but from annihilation. We're fighting for our right to live, to exist. Should we win the day, the 4th of July will no longer be known as an American holiday, but as the day when the world declared in one voice, we will not go quietly into the night. We will not vanish without a fight. We're going to live on. We're going to survive. Today, we celebrate our Independence Day. And furthermore, July, all of July, every year shall be known as Mankind's Masculinity Month. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Shinobi One, thank you so much for coming. has
Yeah,
been a
trust
pleasure.
no one, believe nothing, and a question everything. Shinobi Wan, auto.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed our conversation that we just had. And I had a lot of fun with Shinobi. That was cool. I like talking to folks from all through the community. If you want to talk to me, send me an email and we'll do one of these with you. And that's where we'll leave it. I'm going to leave you off with a Jeffrey Paul song that he released recently on his album, which you can get on iTunes, as well as all the other streaming services. I don't even know what streams. I use iTunes, so I don't know where else you can buy music. But you can get music wherever you can find music. You can find Jeffrey Paul's new album, and I encourage you to pick it up. So, with that said, I hope you enjoyed this stream. I wish you a great night and a great rest of your shortened week. Hopefully, it's been shortened for you guys. And I will catch you in about 2 weeks. All right. All right, guys. Thanks for coming and take care.